More music to be heard.
We're waiting on Eric, by the way, to get started, just so you know. No, I don't think we're not ready anyway. Just kidding, Eric.
We were waiting on Tim. Just kidding.
We're kidding, Eric. Good morning, everyone. Tom Flanagan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the July 3rd, 2017 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item of business, please.
Okay. Item 1, proclamations presentations. Number 1, presentation of proposed strategic program plan for Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Noxious Weed Department for 2018.
And may I interrupt just before we get started on that recommendation? If there's not a problem, I would like to take item B1 from the agenda, and we will defer consideration of that item to a later date if there's no concern about that. Okay.
No objection.
Thank you very much. Go right ahead. Sorry.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. There seem to be a lot of confusing messages going around. I think several of the county commissioners had been receiving a couple calls. I've received a couple calls. And last week, the commission asked me to put together a little brief presentation on the weed department and some of the things that we've been talking about in-house of investigating to see if there's some efficiencies there. So I put together a real quick little PowerPoint here that this was submitted as part of the budget request for 2018. I plan to talk about that on July 19th, but I'll be happy to talk about it here today as well too. Again, just like I just mentioned, this presentation is to begin to dispel some of the rumors, quite frankly, that are wrong, and also clarify any misinformation that may be going on. I think it's extremely important that the commissioners know that these weed laws, and I think you probably do know that, are set by Kansas statute. And the Kansas statute makes us are responsible for the 12 identified noxious weeds and require that we eradicate them and have a plan to control those. The state sets that as a county function, so really the stories going around to the weed department's going to go away. The weed department's functions cannot go away by state statute. Just a brief history on how the weed department got into Parks and Recreation. If you'll recall, back in 2016, the commission asked me and John Wellborn with the weed department to begin to work together, see if we could find some ways to operate more efficiently. I think both of us were able to do that. In 2017 budget year, the commissioners formally placed the weed department under the supervision of Parks and Rec, and it's been operating that way ever since. Largely, any of the changes that's come up in the past two plus years for the weed department, there's been a couple of minor administrative changes, some ways we do business, but other than that, the mention or the interaction with the public has virtually been unchanged. Brief history of the county real quick. We got 348,800 acres. What makes this hard for our weed department is that 75,672 are the different parcels within the county. Some are rural, some are urban, some are industrial, and those provide our weed department a lot of challenges. Again, the department's primary function is to enforce the Kansas noxious weed law, also to enforce the nuisance weed and tall rank grass resolution, which is a Shawnee County Home Rule Resolution 2005-3, and also act as the liaison between landowners to control the spread of any of the noxious weeds within Shawnee County. We also enforce weed control on private property and all county-owned property and right-of-way. In addition to those things, those things are required of the department, but we also do some other things just to be a good community partner. We contract with local government entities, townships, state of Kansas, city of Topeka, other municipalities to help perform their control measures. And as you can see there, we also control it on Shawnee County and township roads. But one big thing is we maintain a warehouse and sales counter to provide the cost share herbicide controls. And we also rent 15 sprayers to make it easier for the landowners to apply the chemicals. The strategic plan, there are things that are going to change in the near future. And as part of this 2018 strategic plan, I wanted John Boyd, who supervises the weed department, John Wellborn, to look at several different things. Why are things going to change? Succession plan. John Wellborn, been a long-time employee of Shawnee County, but he came to us as a retired school district employee. So he's already announced that he's beginning to look at times when he can sit back and relax a little bit. That will cause a change. I've also know that the Kansas Expo Center grounds, where the noxious weed warehouse is probably not part of the Kansas Expo Center expansion. Again, something else that may cause us to look in advance as to ways we might operate. Also, the state of Kansas, community resources, how those funding resources and availability of those, that continues to change year after year, and hasn't seemed to be getting much better, as the county commission probably can attest to. I asked staff to look at several different things that complied with the state statutes. Some of these may work, some may not work, some may work in partial and partner in what we do. But I've had staff begin to look at the a discount system using vouchers. Currently, the weed department purchases and stored many thousands of dollars in chemical materials for resale for weed control. This voucher system could cause the purchase, the storage, and the distribution of those by using the private sector might save us a lot of costs when we go to either rent a new building or build a new building as we get off of those sites. And my directions were, as long as they stayed within the Kansas statutes, we could begin to discuss it further. The same thing could go for the equipment rental. There are numerous businesses probably closer to where the vast majority of our customers are coming from, that I want them to investigate a commercial vendor renting out some of the sprayers, some of those type of things, as long as it stays within the statutes that I listed down at the bottom. I also asked them to look into direct ship of chemical sales instead of having them delivered right straight to the weed department and then the customer having to come there and pick it up. Is there a savings there in which we could just ship it right to their location? Again, number 4, we have contracts with many of the different municipalities around. I think we need to, as financial stewards of Shawnee County tax dollars, I think it's extremely important that we identify what our true costs are for providing all of these services, and then bill back to those municipalities what we can. Same thing goes for the Shawnee County resolution. When staff now goes out upon complaints to address properties that are overgrown. Is there a contractor around who has the same chemicals that we could hire, go out for an RFP to see if there's somebody in the community that could do that for us, instead of having a permanent person on staff for the few complaints that we get on that. This position no longer reports to the Board of Commissioners. One thing that I'm suggesting is that we do an in-depth study of the weed director, weed supervisor position. We just got a new human resources director. I'd work in concert with her in developing those type of things so that this position fits within the current CBIZ study and Shawnee County's rules. With that being said, that really is my brief presentation. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have. Again, I just want to reiterate, these are things that I've asked John Boyd and John Wellborn to look into to see if there are additional efficiencies that we can provide to the taxpayers. Be happy to answer any other questions. This would not be the first time one of my ideas didn't work if something in that list before didn't work. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from Mr. Knight? Commissioner Cook?
Well, John, it goes back to the master plan. We really tasked you to look at your department as a business and develop a business plan and business strategy. Inclusion of the weed department into Parks and Rec. Change is going to happen, and that doesn't mean that it's always for the bad, and as we change, we are governed by statute for a weed department. We'll continue to eradicate noxious weeds in Shawnee County. We have a very good reputation in addressing noxious weeds, and I anticipate that will continue in the future. But business strategies do change. How we deliver services change. And so thank you for making the presentation today.
Commissioner?
I agree. Thanks for the presentation. Look forward to more discussion on July 19th. You said is your budget hearing at what time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. So that'd be good to get some public feedback at that time,
will
too.
be.
So, thank you,
Okay,
John.
thank you.
I'm glad you're looking into these. Thinking about the Shawnee County core values, and two of those key core values are providing excellent customer service and saving taxpayer dollars. And I think that this may accomplish it, but we'll look forward to having the discussion at your budget hearing.
Absolutely.
Moving forward. So,
Good, thank you.
okay.
Not
I guess-
not one of our core functions, but if you don't mind, I'm going to shamelessly plug Parks and Recreation and leave that up on the screen.
Well, meet you there. Okay. Does anyone want to make brief comments about where we go? And again, we're exploring areas to be more effective and efficient, to provide better customer service, and to save tax dollars. It's as simple as that. We do that everywhere in Shawnee County, not just Parks and Rec and the weeds. Okay. I don't see anyone standing up, so next item, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Comments or questions on the consent
I
agenda?
have none. I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, county clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $2,058,023.72. The bulk of the vouchers are in our payroll of $535,905.04, allocations of $404,952.01. Of those, principally, it is made up of the Grace Med contribution and our AMR contribution. The JADO Go to Pica of $621,016.86, and then finally a health insurance premiums of $159,989.87. I do not have any questions regarding the vouchers and would move for their approval.
A second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B has been pulled. Item C, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-216-2017 with Sunflower State Games to host the 2017 Sunflower State Games rowing event scheduled for July 22nd at Lake Shawnee.
Morning, Commissioners. Darren Tolan, Parks and Rec. Before you have the contract for the Sunflower State Games to use Lake Shawnee on July 22nd. I'll be here. I have any questions, you can.
Questions?
I don't. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Number 2, consider approval of a project budget for development of the Bourne Learning Trail and 4 Topeka Metro Bus amenities near Parklands as recommended by the Individual Management Plan Committee.
Morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. I have several people here, especially associated with the Bourne Learning Trail, that I'd like to introduce. I know Brian Toby was key in that, if Brian had come up, and also we've been partnering with Angel Romero from the United Way. They can talk about those two things, but this is just a project budget to inform the Commission as to what we're doing.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Toby, Shawnee County Parks and Rec. I just want to, I'll defer to Angel, but I would like to recognize the group that helps me out, the committee that is in-house, and they're not all here this morning, but some of them are Olivia Mayer, Darren Tolan, Josh Lehman. They're in the back, so we're working on definitely improving the individual management plans for each individual park and parcel that the Parks and Rec operates.
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to just start off actually by first thanking all the folks here at the county for their support, and it's been a great team to work with on this project. This is one of the most exciting projects I get to work with at United Way. This will actually mark our 3rd trail that we've built in Topeka and Shawnee County. What these trails really are is kind of, just for some background, kind of this recognition by United Way worldwide that children are really born learning. From the moment they're born, a child's brain is already picking up on messages and signals, and those things are critical to their early learning and their brain development. And so what these trails do is allow children and their parents and their caregivers to interact in a fun setting that's outdoors, that's casual, but where those children are having those critical interactions that are preparing them to start school on time with their peers. Our first one started out at the Pine Ridge Housing Development, which has been about 5 or 6 years ago now, and has really kind of served as a focal point, a transformation point for that neighborhood. And so we've been really excited to see what that's been able to do, not just for the children there as they get ready to start preschool there and are testing already above their classmates by going through that program, but to see what's really done for the neighborhood as a whole. So we have our second one that's almost finished right now at Evandale East at the Net Center there in the Highcrest neighborhood, and we're just thrilled when Mars approached us about this idea of coming to Montara and really expanding our work out there. And I think we'll kind of serve as a jumping off point for Mars for getting even more involved in the Montara neighborhood. And we've already kind of talked with, especially the Boys and Girls Club out at that site about what other future programming we can do on the trail. And so I think it's going to serve much like the one at Pine Ridge does, and what Highcrest will do as well, as kind of a focal point for that neighborhood as well. So we're really excited about the project and looking forward to what is to come from that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
The second part of that, Commissioners, is the Topeka Metro Bus amenities. And what that does is it pretty much lays out the 4 proposed locations that the Topeka Metro would like to establish either standing pads or amenities in our parks. And I'm currently working with individuals over at Topeka Metro about establishing our design standards with what they propose in long-term planning. So it'll be a longer-term agreement, hopefully here in 2017, but it'll carry through the next 20, 25 years or further as far as how our parks look in respect to transit.
Good. Questions or comments? This is an exciting project. Any comments or questions for the team?
Brian,
Yes.
on the Topeka Metro bus amenities, the project budget, my the cost for those? Are they in the separate documents, or is
Yeah,
it
actually-
just design standards right now, or what?
Yeah, the bus, Topeka Metro actually provides all the amenities
Okay.
and the concrete and the work to establish them. We're kind of, they actually even provide the maintenance, the monthly maintenance. Now, obviously, they're near our parks or in our parks, so if we would see something, we would report it or try to help clean it up, that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's no direct costs associated with this.
Okay, all right. But then with the Boarding and Learning Trail, United Way, Mars, and Shawnee County are the partnerships. that
Right,
are
correct,
together
yeah.
for that.
And it's
Okay.
kind of the same thing, but we do have a few upfront costs.
Right, okay, great, thank you. I'll move approval of the project budgets.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a safe holiday.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C 217-2017 with CDW Government for the purchase of 19 computers with a total care package for $17,708 with funding from the Parks and Recreation operating budget.
Commissioners, John Knight, Parks and Recreation again. This is a request for us to purchase 19 computers. Just to remind you, IT department solicits bids for all of those. It's just money was not in their budget for this request, so that's why you have them here for Parks and Recreation. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Questions or comments for John regarding? I'll move to approve the contract.
Second.
Move to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 4, consider authorization and execution of contract C 218-2017 with Kansas State University, Kansas Forest Service for the Bush Honeysuckle Project Grant, reimbursing the county $3,591.15 for expenses paid for removal of bush honeysuckle.
Commissioners, I don't really have much to add to that. The state has some grant money for this. Bush honeysuckle is something that causes us a lot of heartache in our natural areas, and staff Tom Hammer has been working on ways to get rid of that, and using state dollars is a help. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Questions or comments regarding the contract?
I have none. I'll move approval of the
Second.
contract.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no, and that motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, John. Next item, please.
D, Counselor. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2017-34, establishing 3-year terms for appointments to the Topeka Shawnee County Riverfront Authority.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Crowell, Shawnee County Councilor. This item is simply a reworking of the existing resolution for the Riverfront Authority Board to change the terms for board members from the current setup where the terms run for 3-year terms starting in May and running from May to May, to new terms that start on July 1st and run until June 30th. And they're still staggered. The statute allows us to set those terms wherever we want, just as long as they're 3-year terms. And I believe this follows a request from one of the board members to switch it. So this is just for form to change the terms. I'll be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Questions?
No, I have none.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next item, please.
Item E, Commission. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2017-35, adopting recommended pay scales for elected and appointed officials.
I've received a couple of inquiries about this, and people wondering why we're doing this and not happy about it. Let me just say, this isn't random. What we're doing, essentially what we're doing is implementing the CBIZ compensation study. And we're doing that with elected officials, and the ability to attract qualified candidates, to keep good people on, was the whole purpose of the CBIZ study, and that's essentially why we're going to adopt this resolution. I hope. Any other comments,
Just
Commissioner
a
Bueller?
point of clarification that not all of these are increases for elected officials. The commission chair remains the same as
Right.
last year. Commissioners remain the same as last year. There is an increase, and Betty, correct me if I'm wrong, there is an increase for county treasurer, register of deeds, county clerk, and the sheriff, correct? And
That is
then-
correct.
But all the others are the same as
Right.
last year. And again, to reflect the
CBIZ.
CBIZ recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I have nothing further.
Okay.
I move for approval.
I'll second, and this is the second year of a 3-year recommendation for phasing in of these
right.
increases, correct?
Yes.
So there will be another resolution next year.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you for
second.
bringing that up. I appreciate that. Motion made to adopt the resolution by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Administrative communications.
Good morning, Commissioner. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. As you all aware, tomorrow is July 4th, which brings on our 21st year of Spirit of Kansas at Lake Shawnee. Before I get to some of the events, I do want to shout out to our key sponsors. Capital Federal, again, was the title sponsor. Without them and their generous donation, this event wouldn't be possible. I want to thank WIBW-TV and Magic 101, along with our Shawnee County Foundation and all of Shawnee County. Parks and Recreation puts on the event, but it's a team effort between emergency management, Sheriff Jones and his crew, the city police officers, emergency management, AMR. It really is a group that puts this event on, and it's run pretty well over the last several years, so I'm very proud of that. Some of the events, we have a golf tournament, 2 of them actually, and they are full. One starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and one at 1:30. We have a car show beginning at 9 in the morning, and this is all in 10-man circle pretty much. Food and arts and crafts is at 11, and also at 11 starts our Blues Festival. And I think this is about the 3rd or 4th year for the Blues Festival. I believe it has really added a punch to our event. They draw thousands of people, have really great acts, and really we appreciate their being part of this event. And then last but not least, we have the fireworks at 10 o'clock. The roads around Lake Shawnee won't be necessarily shut down, but they will be directing you into parking lots after 8 o'clock. We do have free bus shuttle, with thanks of Topeka Metro from Ruger Complex starting at 6 o'clock. We encourage everybody to leave their personal fireworks at home, leave it to the professionals. There's a lot of people out there, and we just want to be safe. So, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Randy?
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. I just wanted to remind the public that our budget hearings will start on Thursday, July 6th, and they will run through Thursday, July 20th. They will also, our IT department will be streaming them live on the website, and they will also be recorded and be available on the website if someone wants to hear them at a different time. And I will make sure the schedule is put on the website also.
Very good. Thank you, Betty.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Commissioner of Elections. Just a couple of updates. Voter registration deadline is July the 11th. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. We're also going to be doing a voter registration drive this weekend at the Shawnee County Public Library. It's going to be Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Sunday, July 9th from noon to 6 p.m. So just want the public to be aware of that. Again, don't forget your deadline to register or change your address if you need to, 11th of July. And advanced voting in person at the Shawnee County Election Office will begin on Monday, July 17th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And remember, the primary this year is for City of Topeka residents only. It's citywide, and it relates to the office of the Topeka Mayor. So, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else for administrative communications?
Good morning, Commissioners. Justin Gregory, Kansas Expo Center. I just wanted to update you on our July 20th, third Thursday. The menu has been finalized. They will be having a casino night theme with music by Jacob Hodge on the Budweiser Gazebo stage. The event will support the Topeka VA Center, and we will be serving casino night steak sandwich, which is steak, grilled flat iron steak on toasted garlic bread with garlic mushroom and fried onions. So once that's been finalized, I wanted to let you guys know. So wish everybody happy 4th of July. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Anyone else this morning for administrative communications? Commissioner Bueller.
Just everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July.
Commissioner Cook.
You know, Commissioner, I know how much you appreciate the third Thursday, and so I look forward to you taking a gamble on that sandwich.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Commissioner. That I hope my week improves after that. I will put my Tom Block hat on and remind everyone that trash pickup will be the same except for tomorrow. It will be, and that'll be carryover for Wednesday. So if trash pickup is tomorrow, put it out on Wednesday. And I want to thank everybody that's in the Spirit of Kansas partnership. It is a partnership, and it's a great event. I hope we have record attendance. Everybody enjoys it, and I wish everybody a happy 4th and have a very safe holiday. Thank you. Next item, please.
Executive session?
There's not a need for an executive session today, so we're officially adjourned. Thank you for coming.